You all rock starred out.
Rock starred out,
Your Nirvana shirt and your cool sunglasses.
like a producer.
Yeah.
Like Rick Rubin. That's the job, man. Rick Rubin's got the job. I wish I had an ounce of talent so I could be a Rick Rubin. I love how Rick Rubin, like, I just love his story. He might be a good DFF, honestly, because he's got such a great story. Starting as like a punk guitarist and ending up as the most like lauded hip hop producer in history. Not just hip hop either. I love the way that he handles the people that he's with. He's got this little ranch on the coast of California called Shangri-La or some shit, and he brings like artists to it, and with the intent of like removing all of their earthly cares and letting them just completely exist in a really like meditative, beautiful place, so that there's nothing impinging on their art. And he's a real smart guy. He does interviews with artists and stuff, and I've always admired him.
What was his name again? So we can put him on our little listy.
Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin.
Rubin.
Alright, cool.
Might be an interesting guy. Although it always rankles me when we do shows about people that make things like movies or music, and you can't play 10 seconds of anything that he's done. You can't really show it off. You have to let people go and do it themselves.
I mean, you could throw like some links in the description. Maybe make them like little cards that people can click.
Yeah, maybe.
Might work.
Yeah, just like edit it to where we're listening to it. But when it goes out, it's got like, some other little copyright free ditty, and it says click link 1 below or whatever.
Yeah, that might be cool.
So they can listen to have it time stamped to the spot where we're listening to it. Might be interesting to do. I was watching TJ's latest video where he talks about the awakening of his ego and how he watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Interestingly enough, for the first time, I could have sworn that I've talked with TJ about Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but maybe he just kind of went along. I guess he watched it on shrooms, and he got this insight that, if a work like Monty Python and the Holy Grail can take this like lofty legend material and reduce it to this absurd joke, that the opposite can be done. That he can take something that a lot of people look at as absurd, that being his presence or his whatever, and he can make it legendary, and that's great. I'm happy to see a friend feel good about themselves, and I'm happy to see a friend, regain something they feel like they've lost. It's a nice thing, I suppose. But I kind of inevitably started comparing it to my own experience. And my experience, it doesn't go as long as TJ's does when it comes to content creation, but he talked a lot about an era that I was involved in, which is, like old 2015, 2016 kind of red wave, and the anti-SJW stuff. And I guess we have different experiences, and I have a different kind of perception of myself within that, and myself now, I suppose. It really made me think. I'm pretty explicit about my struggles and how down on myself I can be, how down on myself I can get. And one of the things that I've struggled with since almost the inception of this shit, and it may seem stupid and trite, but being misunderstood or misrepresented. I really honestly don't care as much as TJ seems to in his latest video, as he professes to in his latest video, about how I'm received. He talks about how he wants people to truly follow him. I don't want that. I just want to be heard, heard outright. That's it. And maybe that comes from the fact that, while TJ kind of pursued this type of content creation as his life, for me, it's a pretty recent development. And I've come to resent the job that I do in multiple different ways, as one might expect when you're doing a job. And a lot of it is just, it seems to be very different from how TJ perceives it. Maybe a little more defeatist. I don't want to be followed. I want to be heard, and I want to be quoted properly, and that's that. Sorry, somebody sent a, here you go, Peaches. Thanks, Jersey. I kind of expect people not to agree with me. That's fine. In fact, that's preferable to me. As good as it feels to have somebody tell you, like, oh man, what you said really hit home, and that's great, and you really put this into perspective for me. I love that. It's great to hear those things. I'm much more interested in somebody who says, no, you're wrong, and here's why. You said this, and this is why it's wrong. You said this, and this is why it's wrong. But up in that cycle, people's opinions, people's perceptions, they gum up the works. And all of a sudden, I'm arguing against something I never intended to say, never did say. And it's sapped the energy out of me. It really has. So I find myself kind of in the same place as TJ was, maybe a few days ago, feeling rather listless about what I create. But for different reasons. I don't have grandiose desires. I'd be happy living at the level that I'm at right now for the rest of my life. I don't need to be agreed with. I don't need to be followed. I actually don't want that. It's a little bit too much responsibility to have followers. I just want to be heard. I want to put things out there that impinge on people's thought processes. And even if they don't change minds, I want people to think about what I'm saying, genuinely about what I'm saying, not about what they wished that I would say to make my argument more easily defeatable. And I'm telling you, man, it drags you all the way down into the toilet. If you're a person who spends as much time as I do speaking very clearly about how I feel and what I think, only to see yourself diminished in social media, diminished in the comment section, diminished by other content creators because of shit that you never said, shit that you never intended. And that alone, the ability to speak something in my mind so clearly that it can't be misinterpreted, and then have people willfully deconstruct and misinterpret it. And that coupled with just, I've had a rough fucking go of it. The last 5 years of my life have been crisis mode for the most part. I've only very recently gotten to a point where I feel like I belong in my own life. Prior to being with Amelia, I felt like I was always chasing something that was impossible for me to catch up with. Other people's expectations, other partners' expectations, other friends' expectations of me. I always felt like I was running 3 days behind where I should be. And I don't feel that way anymore. But the toll that has taken on me psychologically, physically, is evident. It should be evident to anybody who watches me. Living that way, and then the combativeness of just trying to be heard. It's taken a lot out of me. You know, it's taken a lot of my joie de vivre away from me. It's taken a lot of my... Ultimately, it's taken a lot of the fun out of what I do. And that's what watching TJ's latest video kind of got me thinking about, was where did the fun go? And, you know, I think a lot of people might say, well, maybe you're just sick and tired of what you do. But that's not true. I get excited to present different ideas on Deep Fat Fried. I love doing these, obviously. Not always, not every one of them, but I still feel like I can grasp that fun, but it has been diminished for me and replaced with this kind of angst. You couple that with things that are kind of not related, just me kind of... a lot of you probably don't know this. Maybe some of you do, but I've been sick/hurt for about 3 weeks. And I really have had a hard time not seeing that as just like bodily deterioration, you know? And that's a very depressing thing to face up to. And so I've got that going on, and I've got this kind of crisis with my work going on in terms of me just not being able to connect up with it in the way that I used to. And when I open my mind, at least to that side of it, you know, the physical deterioration part, I mean, we've talked a lot about what that's about, why I am the way I am, my mental problems, my hang-ups. Those things really haven't changed. But my attitude towards my work has changed profoundly. I've come to see almost everybody, even people who are genuinely like kind to me, nice to me, receptive of my thought process, as enemies. And I feel like I'm wading into the breach every time I speak. And that there are people there. And look, there's no doubt about it. You can say however much you want. There are people who are invested in me feeling the way that I'm feeling now. There are people who so much don't like what I have to say, so much don't like how I say it, so much don't like me, that they will constantly and continuously misinterpret, reinterpret, misquote, and I think misunderstand, but purposefully, what I'm saying. And I don't deal well with that shit. I've never dealt well with that shit. I've always stood on what I say. And I've always been willing to stand behind what I say, no matter what the criticism is. But what I'm not willing to do is defend myself constantly against shit that I never said, shit that I never intended, shit that has nothing to do with me. And yet that I feel like that is what I spend a lot of my time, if not doing, then thinking about. And as a result of that, I almost feel like hanging all this shit up. Now, I'm not going to. I care too much about what I've built to give up on it. I care too much about the audience that I've helped to develop to walk away from it. I care too much about the business that I've helped to establish to divest my interest in it. But I cannot deny that I'm in a rut. I just can't. I can't deny it. And I don't know if there's anything like an easy answer to that. I'm gonna have to move you guys to the shade. So give me a second. Let's move these coffees off of here. I literally can't read the fucking screen because the sun's right on it. Maybe that's better. Maybe I should just leave them there. Let the sun scour away their fucking nonsense.
You got it?
Yeah. Close enough, anyway. I'm just gonna sit on a normal chair over there.
Yeah.
See if this is any better than the fucking rocking chair. It helped me out. I'm also
Slippers.
gonna get slippers and weed.
situated now?
I think so. I think I got what I need. Never had this strain before, so we'll see. Have to look it up and see if it's an indica or a sativa or a blend. Berry pie. Berry pie. Oh, god damn it.
Oh, what happened?
It just got bent. Got bent in a way that's going to be fun to undo.
Blueberry pie.
This is just berry pie.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Sativa.
Chat is straight up poop so far, just letting you know. Yeah, I don't really plan on paying much attention to the chat today. I mean, the chat is straight up kind of poop every day, which is kind of the problem, right?
But yeah, so that's a mostly sativa.
Sativa dominant. Okay, that's good. No floaty body high. Take a head high any day. I guess I probably could have just looked at it and known it was sativa. Jeez Louise.
The nug.
It's beautiful.
I think with that, you're at a crossroads. You gotta decide if you want to work to live or live to work.
I mean,
Two main philosophies, and I think with TJ's thing, if the goal is for him to increase his following and increase his influence, he's shifting towards living to work, to make the work the center of his life.
I mean, when you do this kind of job, it's very hard not to make the work the center of your life. You know, because we don't ever stop. Even when we're off, we're working. Even when we're off, we're doing things. Even when we're not in front of an audience, we're thinking about the next time we're going to be.
But, I mean, it's still possible with this job to work to live.
Yeah.
You just have to decide what you want to live for, and then that influences how you work, because you want to work harder to achieve those things you want to live for.
You know, one of the things that I wanted to do, that I've made some slight overtures towards, I want to rip back my personality from these people.
Yeah.
My personal life, my personal, I want to take it back. I want to take all those things back, and I want to present them with whatever it is I want them to see. I don't know if that's a good impulse or a bad impulse, but it's one that I've had, no doubt. Like, no more seeing me. You can hear me. You can see a little visualizer of what I'm up to or what I'm thinking or whatever the fuck, but you don't get the personal shit. Because that's part of how I presented myself. Maybe it was naivete that caused me to do it. I came from being a very just normal 9-to-5 guy, and all of a sudden I was thrown into this podcast world where you got fans and you got people that are following every little fucking word you've ever said. My instinct was to show them, you know, my reality, to be honest with them about how I was feeling and what I was doing. And maybe that was a mistake. Because it seems like it's led to a sense of over-familiarity in a lot of people that ends up getting creepy and weird and parasocial. I think it's also, I don't know, diminished my message. It's given people a reason to say, oh, Paul's just depressed. I say something that, you know, is truly meaningful to me, something that I really believe, and it's given people an out to just dismiss what I say because I've been honest about my personal life and my struggles and shit. There's a part of me that just wants to like disappear and create a character and come back. See what happens. But I know I really can't do that.
There's definitely pressure to be as open as possible.
Well, I've created that pressure because that's what I delivered to them. There's other content creators that have kept a much more healthy, I think, arm's length view with their audiences and shit. They tell them a little bit about like, oh, I'm, going in for surgery or I'm this or that, but they're not constantly letting people into their moods and into their heads and stuff. And see, to me, I don't know.
You're just a very honest person. It's hard for you to be anything else.
Yeah. I guess so. But, I don't know. Overall, I think I was just very happy for TJ. He seems like he's, had a renewed kind of joie de vivre when it comes to what he's doing. And you always want to see friends happy, But when it came down to it, I was watching his video and I was like, man, we've lived two different experiences through this time, for sure. One of the things that I always thought was really destructive and that I feel like I've been trying to escape since was this kind of audience takeover that happened on DP, where all of a sudden the audience were programming for us. The audience were telling us what we could and couldn't cover, what we should and shouldn't cover. And as, the popularity and the money kept rolling in, there was a lot of impetus to do that. Let's cover the manatee fucking 3 times a week for 3 years. Let's cover these like nobody, troll kind of like personalities. And let's do that 3 times a week, nonstop. Oh, you're getting tired of it? Well, too bad, because the people aren't getting tired of it. So allowing that kind of like shifting of gears from here's what I want to talk about, here's what I've been thinking about, to here's what you want me to talk about. And as much as we've struggled with Deep Fat Fried, I think to shake that, I really don't think we have. It's one of those things that once you let the genie out of the bottle, it's hard to put it back in. Maybe impossible. When people get it in their minds that their negative responses can influence you, then, even if you're not being influenced, those negative responses are going to continue to flow. They're going to continue to try. Because there's a real give and take. TJ talks about that too. He said, people call people that do this job influencers, but it's really the audience that are the influencers. It's the audience that influence the person to be or express or appear as they want him to, or want her to, or want them to. And, man, I can fucking see that. I can see that clear as day. And it's just exhausting. It goes both ways. I don't really think it does. I don't really think it does.
I mean, you've done better with this than DP for sure. Like, you don't consult people before you make a change. You didn't say, like, let's vote who wants to keep Flash Fried and who doesn't.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely a big part of it.
You're like, nope, we're going to do something that we think is cooler, and you're just going to like it or not.
I don't know. It's because you're making a product, and products are subject to supply and demand. Sure. I don't look at what I make as a product, though. And maybe that's part of the problem. I mean, I guess I do fundamentally, but I don't treat it that way in the creation of it. I want to be doing something different. I want to try and find different ways to, you know, reach people and incite people and make people think, make people laugh. And I very rarely want it to be what they expected, you know. And that's a tough framework to put over yourself just from the jump. But
There's definitely two different content philosophies. There's the schedule, and then there's the whatever the fuck. And I don't know, maybe it'd be easier for you to do the whatever the fuck
yeah.
schedule.
Did the change Flash Fried have anything to do with audience opinion? I recall we were advocating for a change more in line with what you guys wanted. No. I mean, we didn't like go and collect, you know, audience comments or anything. We didn't even look at any of that for any of this, by the way. Like from the very inception of the show, one voice in the kind of triangle was left completely out purposefully. We didn't design the show based on feedback that we'd gotten. We didn't design the show based on what we'd hoped other people wanted us to do. We designed the show because we realized if we ever got to the point where we were allowing the inmates to run the asylum again, that we'd be done. We'd be done trying. We'd be done making things. Because that was the worst thing in the fucking world, man. Being trapped in DP and making just the same stale, rote shit over and over and over again, and having the audience just go nuts over it. It was horrible. It was like degrading, you know. And so I'd rather not ever be in that position ever again. I'd rather go back to work at a normal 9 to 5 than ever be there again. But I feel like even with the pains we went to shake that kind of influence, it's still there. There's still a large portion of people that watch us that really want to chisel away at what we're doing and make it what they want.
Well, it's like the kind of trap that YouTube put you in. You can't get that ad revenue like you used to, so you're so reliant on the Patreon, and people that are patrons think that they have a say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those things, and you know, it's sad but true. May come off as a little harsh, but your $7 a month, if you go look at your Patreon perks, it doesn't include a producer's credit, you know. It doesn't include a feedback session as to what you think this should be, or how you think we should do this, or what you think we should do more or less of. That's just not listed. And that's not just an oversight. That's conspicuous absence. Same thing goes with shit like this. You know, just doing a Highdeology. I'll listen to what you guys have to say. But will I act on it? Probably not. Not unless it aligns with something I've already, you know, put into motion or decided to put into motion.
It's just the stupidest thing that YouTube has this policy with ads now. Like, they could make so much more money if they just fully monetized everything.
Yeah. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Like, ultimately, what does, like, fucking NordVPN care if you guys say some naughty words in a show?
Well, that's what started the whole adpocalypse, was people were bitching that their ads were showing up on alt-right content, basically. That's what it was. It was the alt-right that killed the ad revenue stream on YouTube. This huge boom, and people being able to make more than a living on YouTube. And, when you're under that gun, it's different than when you're under your audience's gun.
Yeah. I mean, what if YouTube had just said, fuck you? If you want to advertise on our platform, you gotta go on shit you don't like.
Yeah, YouTube wasn't going to stand up for its creators that way, though. Or its audience. YouTube was all too happy to bend to the whims of the advertiser.
Yeah, it does hurt the audience too, because like people change their content to be advertiser friendly,
Oh, yeah.
and you guys just refuse to do it.
I don't even really think there was a way that we could honestly do it. It would be a like a farce. Yeah, this isn't gonna work.
No.
This one will work. It's pretty low to the ground. I'm not having to lean over as much. Let's try out some different chairs. Whoa, this is way low to the ground. Okay.
You didn't realize that?
Feels nice, but I need that arm.
Yeah.
Let's see. I should be able to fix this somehow. Let's see. If I move it like this, and then stick it. I have a rocking chair. Okay. All right. That's all right. It feels pretty good. Feels better than the other one did.
Yeah. Or we just need to get new chairs, maybe.
I need a new back, is what I need. I didn't used to have trouble with chairs.
Chair used to just be a chair.
Yeah. Pull up a stump and rest your rump. That's gone away from me. Now it's find the right stump and carefully rest your rump. And when it starts hurting, unrest your rump. Okay, I can't wear my cool sunglasses and still see you. Any chance of seeing a chiropractor? I don't trust them, man. I'm afraid that I'll go into a chiropractor and they'll fuck me up. They'll make me worse.
They have so many bullshit, like, tangential ideas, too.
Yeah.
Like the whole, like, spinal alignment will solve everything.
I don't think it would solve this. Whatever the fuck this is.
I don't think your spine can be aligned.
Maybe not. Oh yeah, like an inversion table. I've had those before, actually. I've never had one of my own, but my stepmom, when I was still living at home with my parents as a teenager, was in a car accident. And she injured her spine really badly, and she had to decompress it with that inversion table, and I learned how to use it, and I used to use it every fucking day. So that might be something to look into maybe getting. I don't know how much they cost. Probably pretty expensive, honestly. go to sleep. Hazelnut. You want to smoke, but it's pouring down buckets. You got a place you can stand up underneath the eaves or something?
Smokers do torture themselves with the elements, don't we?
Oh yeah, it's sweat and the heat.
Freeze your ass off.
Just freeze your bones completely down. Get wet, whatever it is you got to do.
But if you can resist that, if you're like, nah, it's too gross outside, then you have a chance of quitting.
Yeah. A reverse hyper, huh? I'll have to look at that. It says you can strengthen your spine while decompressing it at the same time.
I notice you haven't been doing as much of the yoga lately. The cat and cow thing. You haven't been doing that as much.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't been doing anything as much. I've been in pain like this for 3 weeks now, 2 weeks, something like that, and it's just, oh man, I'm sick of it. It just hurts. That's all there is to it. It's just pain. Need an epidural, yeah. Need an epidural or one of those fabled prescriptions to like opioids that they used to give people that were in massive pain so they could get through it. I'd take a prescription of Vicodin right now like that. And I'm a person that's very careful with that type of drug, but I know it would help me immensely. It would take the edge off of this, it would help me sleep, and it would let it heal without me fussing over it and stretching it all day, which is probably like slowing down the healing process. But they don't hand those out anymore. Basically got to be dying of cancer or some shit to get a fucking opioid prescription. Break a tooth. I've already got a broken tooth, man.
And then they gave you Motrin.
Yeah. Dude, when I had that like cracked tooth that needed a root canal and a cap right over here on this side of my mouth, they gave me a prescription for Motrin to take home. It's like,
Which is weird because, like, when I got my wisdom teeth out, they gave me like a month's worth of Oxy.
yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. I feel like that's just over. But I've been really thinking about it these last few days, and it's a spooky thing for me because I've had a problem with those types of drugs in the past. But like I've just been thinking like fucking Oxy, Vicodin, Percocet, anything dopey and opioid, I would fucking eat like breakfast cereal right now. I would eat a bowl of fucking lean Sour Patch Kids cereal with Lil Pump right now. Because I know it would help. It's one of the only things that intercedes in this type of pain. You know, I could sit and take fucking over-the-counter Advil all day to the maximum dose, and it barely touches it. Favorite Nirvana era song? I don't really know if I have a favorite Nirvana era. I really don't think that they were around quite long enough to have an era. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe you could look at their, you know, like...
I mean, maybe albums is the best you could do for eras.
maybe. My favorite Nirvana song is Sliver. And that's off of Incesticide, I believe, which is not even a full album. It's like an EP or whatever.
I tend to like a lot of Nirvana's like early stuff from Bleach. I really like how raw and angsty and punky the band was at the beginning. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love the more produced, more alternative sounds that they had later in the career with Nevermind and Heart Shaped Box. Or, sorry, what was the.
In Utero.
In Utero, yeah. But there was something about those dark, dirty days of bad recording equipment and heavy punk riffs and shit like that that I really connect with.
Yeah, I'm a fake Nirvana fan. I'm a 2-album fan.
Yeah.
Nevermind and In Utero.
That's not fake Nirvana. That's commercial Nirvana. That's what most people like.
Yeah.
So if you're a fake Nirvana fan, then most people are fake Nirvana fans. Because most people will name songs off of those 2 studio albums. And there's nothing wrong with that.
That's how I am with artists. It's either like everything they've ever made, or it's like 1 album or 2 albums they've made.
Yeah, it's very rare for me to be into an artist that I'm like into everything that they've ever done. I'm more of an album person myself too. Got a short list of people that I care about multiple albums or entire albums. But
I'll just hold you guys. How about that? Let you see up my nose for a little while. This feels good. TJ's like that with Marilyn Manson. He likes everything he ever did. I mean, I think TJ's been critical of some of Manson's albums. He used to do an album review for every Manson album. I think he still has. They've just become so few and far between. I do like Mastodon a lot, but I'm not an every album Mastodon guy either. I like Blood Mountain. That's pretty much it. Maybe there's a couple of, oh yeah, let's show off the belly. Oh yeah. Just need one of those arms.
Or you just change the camera to Dynor for a while.
Oh yeah, I can do that. Bloop. Dynor cam, there you go. Right next to the bosom. Just give you guys a Dynor cam for a little bit. So I can sit here and be in pain of my own volition. Dynor the watchdog. Always got his eyes out on everything. Oh yeah, dude, he loves his bandana. Isn't that right, D?
We'll have to get it taken off eventually, though, for a bath.
That's true. Can't bathe in your neckerchief.
Oh, you took away the Dynor cam from the people?
Oh no. That's okay. Just bringing it back. You put a pillow under your back while you sleep for lumbar support? No.
My back does not work like a healthy back does. I have scoliosis.
Here, bring it to Mama.
We'll see.
Yep, back.
Okay. It's back. It's back and only 4 people hung out. Just like magic. Yeah, I had to turn off my Wi-Fi and just let it run on my fucking 5G. You didn't expect me to come back? Why not? I usually try my best to fix these things. Usually.